Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 6, Tsumihoroboshi. So last time, Keiichi and Rena went to Angel Mort, right? They had a dessert festa, I suppose. And then they did the punishment game for the ones that lost, Rika, Satiko, and Mion. They became servers, I suppose, waitress in Angel Mort. And then we also saw Kameda. He returned. I actually thought he was never gonna return ever again, but he was there. And then we also had Tomita and Okamura, right? The Keiichi's two lackeys. Plus, we also met another girl last time. Another woman, I mean. A new one, Rena, that Rena knows. So, yes, let's continue. Let's see what happens today.
少なくとも3日くらいの間は甘いものを見たくないぜ。
ケイイチくん頑張りすぎだったもんね。
Rena ate a massive amount of desserts too, but her stomach seemed to be just fine. Oh, we also played as Rena last time. Had a little bit, just a small bit at the end.
女の子には胃袋が4つくらいあるんじゃねえか。デザート用に確実に1つは余計にあるに違いない。
まあ、レディーになんたる暴言ですの。そんなこと言うケイイチさんにはこうでございますことよ。
Satiko had poked me very hard in my bloated stomach.
やめてお腹は押さないで中身がはみ出る
Satiko and Rika-chan grinned mischievously upon hearing that. A chill ran up my spine. Why were they smiling like that and walking towards me so gleefully?
やめろお前ら血とか涙とかはねえのかよ
千載一遇のチャンスを見逃す私と思いましてみーケイイチの膨らんだポンポンが大変なのですよケイイチくんのポヨンポヨンのポンポンかいいよ
やめろお前ら
Rena joined Satiko and Rika-chan in torturing me. We were still making a lot of noise outside the restaurant. I desperately blocked my stomach from their attacks, but someone else hit me from behind. Is it Mion?
誰だ
ハロローン
Shion.
ケイちゃんとその愉快な仲間の皆さんこんにちはですお、しーちゃんだこんにちはあれれ今日はお店にいなかったよね
私今日は夜のシフトなんです。さっき来て着替えたばかりですよ。
それはそうとお前よくその格好で店の外に出られるな。
大したことないですよ。あられもない姿で村中を練り歩いた誰かさんよりは恥ずかしくないです。
Damn it, I was just getting over it. She just had reminded me that I'll never be able to get married, okay?
それはそうと、今日は皆さんだいぶ大暴れしたらしいですね。
まあねいつもの部活になっちゃった以上ね
店内とんでもないことになってましたからね。お姉も責任を感じたようでみんなに混じって掃除をやってます。
やっぱり私たちも掃除に加わった方が良かったんじゃありませんの？
ああ、それはお気遣い無用です。 さすがにお客様に掃除はさせられませんから。
そもそも一番散らかしたのはミー本人だと思いますです。
Yeah, that's right. Everybody nodded in agreement.
それでお姉から伝言です。皆さんは先に帰っててくれていいそうです。
いいよ、待ってるよ。ねえみんな。
Rena asked for our agreement. Of course, we decided to wait without hesitation. Satiko, Rika-chan, and I all nodded along.
手伝えないならせめて終わるのを待ってるよ。帰っていいからって言って先に帰るとあいつ寂しがると思うからな。
ほう、ケイちゃんも日進月歩、少しは成長するんですね。
まあね。レナたちがちゃんと教育してるからね。ねえ。ですわよ。ニパー。
なんだよ、こういう時だけ女どもは結束しやがって。
I hate girls. They get along so easily just because they're girls. In the end, we ended up making a lot more noise, even dragging Shion into the mess this time.
シオン、あんたいつまでサボってんの？雑巾どこやったの？ありゃいけね。じゃあ私はもう戻りますね。
みーちゃん。お掃除まだまだかかりそう？
何みんな。おじさんを待っててくれてるわけ？
Are you waiting for this old man?
余計な気使わなくていいって。まったくもう。
Mion looked happy to see us waiting for her, but she always says the opposite of what she thinks. I mean, kind of true though. Yeah, she always says the opposite, especially when she's kind of, what do you call this? I'm not embarrassed, but I forgot the word.
バカ、仲間だろ。終わるまで待っててやれよ。
レナたちも一緒にお手伝いできればいいのにね。ごめんね。
だからいいって。今日ね、シオンの仕事終わるの待ってから久しぶりに沖宮の家に帰ることにしたの。だから本当に大丈夫。気持ちだけでも感謝するよ。
あら、本当にいいんですの？なんだか悪いですわね。なんか悪い気がするかな。
人は大勢いるから大丈夫だよ。風が冷たくなる前にみんなひなみ沢に戻りな。
わかりましたのです。みー、お掃除、ファイト、おーです。
おう、ありがとね。じゃあケイちゃん、お嬢様方のエスコートをよろしく。途中で死角に襲われないようにしっかり護衛するんだよ。
Looking around, I don't see or didn't see any ladies who needed an escort. I felt more like I was the one who needed protection. Anyway, we said our goodbyes, making it easier for us to end the day and go home.
じゃあね、みーちゃん。また明日ね。
おう、また明日ね。
よっしゃ、行こうか。
We waved at Mion until she went back inside the restaurant, and after that, we all got on our bicycles and left Okinomiya. That was very wholesome of them. On the way home, we talked about how exciting it had been today and it looked like everyone was still fired up. We had the horrifying punishment and a competitive eating contest, which turned into an unprecedented battle involving all the customers in the restaurant, and after that, everything got crazy and very messy. At first, the waitresses didn't know what to do, but after a while they ended up joining in and we had a blast.
でしたのよね。その時の富田さんと岡村さんたらもうおかしくてたまりませんでしたわ。
But it was really nice though because there was a lot of characters there. Not only our normal main characters, right? The other side characters were there as well. Even Irie, I forgot about Irie. He was there as well.
結局亀田も入江もかわいそうだったのです。
いやいや、しかし俺の演説もなかなかだったろ。あの時は店全体が俺の味方だったよな。
圭一は生まれる時代と国が違ったらひょっとするととんでもない人になってたかもなのです。こんな口先男がですの？どこの国に生まれてもろくな人間にはならないと思いますでございますわね。あと100年も早く生まれていたらお札になっていたかもですよ。
He might have gotten printed on bills. Okay.
圭一さんのお札なんてなんだか貧しいですわね。きっと200円札とか300円札とかそのぐらいの数でしたよ。
200 or 300 yen. Sadako and Rika-chan kept up their continuous chatter. I was a bit tired after the day's event, so I just listened quietly. I noticed the wind was getting colder. Our shadows were getting longer as well. Sadako and Rika-chan still had a lot of energy left, but what about Rena? She'd been very quiet. Maybe she also had a stomach ache from eating too much. I looked at Rena to see. However, I was wrong, and she was just smiling right there. Rena was, I didn't really know how to describe it. She looked very satisfied. She looked like she really did have that much fun. She looked like she was as happy as she could ever be. I could tell all that without her saying a word. When I looked at her, it made me realize that the word fun wasn't enough to describe what we did today.
今日一日本当に楽しかったな。
圭一くんは？
俺も最高に楽しかったよ。今日みたいなことが明日や明後日もあればいいのになってくらいにさ。
それはレナも同じかな。今日のお店の中での時間だけが永遠だったらいいなって思った。
おお、詩的なことを言うな。
圭一くんは思わなかった？
Rena didn't notice that I made fun of her. I might have been a little tactless. Suddenly, I regretted having said that.
いや、俺も同感だよ。
でもね、圭一くん。別に今日だけが最高に幸せってわけじゃないんだよ。
A cool wind blew through her hair. She smiled at me and for some reason she looked very mature. Her appearance made my heart skip a beat.
私たちのひなみ沢での日々はどの一日だってかけがえのない大切で素敵な幸せな一日なんだよ。たとえ部活がお流れになっちゃって退屈な一日だったとしてもね。
レナは大人な考え方ができるんだな。
そんなことないよ。本当はまだまだはしゃぎ足りない。興奮がまだ冷めないだけなのかもね。
Rena laughed and that made me laugh too. Satoko thought that we were laughing because we said bad things about her and she started bugging me about it. Once again, we made a lot of noise like we always do.
では僕とサトコはここでお別れなのです。リカ、もう少しご一緒してタバコ屋さんで曲がってもいいではありませんの？豆電球が切れたのを忘れましたですか？豆電球がないと寝るときに真っ暗になってしまいますですよ。それは困りますわね。あ、牧野さんの雑貨屋さん？ならここでお別れだね。これ以上行っちゃうとどんどん遠回りになっちゃうからね。
Makina-san's general store. Alright, that's where it is. If they wanted to make a stop at the store before going back to the shrine, turning here would be the quickest way.
そっか。じゃあな、リカちゃんにサトコ。また明日な。
また明日なのです。それではですわ。ケイチさんにレナさん。じゃあね、二人とも。バイバイ。
Bye bye. Rika-chan and Sateko waved at us many times, then took the narrow path through the field. Once the noisy girls were gone, it went especially quiet all of a sudden. The noisy girls. It even made me feel as if the sun had set in an instant. I could see my house by now, which everybody called the Maibara Mansion. I didn't notice it earlier because of how fired up we all were, but my stomach is about to burst. The growling in my gut felt like thunder. My body must have been paying the price for me acting like an idiot earlier. There was no way I was eating dinner that night. Though you cannot eat dinner anymore. The amount of food you ate? You would be full for like one more day. I need to tell my mom before she started cooking. But before anything, I had to get to the bathroom first. My stomach was churning. Oh boy, it really didn't sound good. We got to the place where I always meet Rena in the morning and say goodbye in the evening.
今日はすっげえ楽しかったな。
すっごい楽しかった。あれ？ケイチくん具合悪いの？
すまん、お腹を壊したかもしれない。おとなしく休むことにするよ。
ケイチくんもまだまだお腹の鍛え方が足りないかな？
レナだって俺と同じくらい食べてるはずなんだぞ。一体その細っこい体のどこにあれが収まるってんだ？
それは女の子の秘密ってことで。
Rena giggled and tried to avoid giving me an answer. She'd probably hit me if I pressed her about it. If she punched me in the stomach, I'd throw up for sure. So I decided not to go any further.
じゃあな、レナ。また明日な。
また明日ね。
俺さ、前は都会に住んでたわけだけどさ。こんなにも一日一日を楽しいと思って過ごしたことはなかった。俺、ひなみ沢に引っ越してきてさ、きっと幸せなんだって思う。
レナも同じだよ。ほら、私も1年前にひなみ沢に引っ越してきたわけだけど、こんなに楽しい幸せな日々を送れるのが信じられないもの。
そっか。なら明日も絶対に楽しいな。
そうだよ。昨日も今日も楽しかったんだもん。きっと明日だって楽しいよ。
こんなにも毎日が楽しいと、なんだかある日突然転びそうで怖いよな。
転ぶときはどんなに注意してても転ぶよ。だからいつ転んでもいいように思いっきり今を楽しむのが正解だと思うな。
そうだな。今を精一杯楽しむのが正解だな。
じゃあね、ケイチくん、おばさまとおじさまにもよろしくね。さて、レナはまだまだ遊び足りないから、また宝の山に宝探しに行こうかな。
Is she gonna go to the, what do you call it? The dump?
まだ遊び足りないってのか？
Yeah, it's nighttime. It's already, I mean,
つくづくタフなやつだな。負
nearly.
けたぜ。
どう？よかったらケイチくんも一緒に来ない？
Yes.
新しい山があってね、まだ全然発掘してないの。何かとっても可愛いのが見つかるかも。
悪いけど俺はパスするよ。それになんだか雲が重たくなってきたみたいだしな。レナも今日はおとなしく帰宅した方がいいんじゃないか？
ほう、こういう素敵な気分の日にはね、きっと可愛いのが見つかるんだよ。だからちょっとでも行ってみるね。
I felt sick enough that I didn't feel like going with her. If I felt better, I would have gone treasure hunting with her for sure. She didn't want to go home yet, because she didn't want the fun to end. That's exactly how I felt too.
わかったよ。じゃあな。可愛いのがあったらぜひ見せてくれよな。
じゃあね。バイバイ。
Keiichi-kun, okay, we're playing as Rena now. Keiichi-kun waved over and over as if he didn't want to say goodbye yet. But after a while, he was gone. Well, I had to go too because I was going to go treasure hunting. I love cute things. I had such a wonderful day today, and I'm sure I'm going to get lucky at treasure hunting. I definitely will find some wonderful treasures. So I pedaled my bicycle with determination. My house was nearby, but I took another street that led to the dam construction site. It might have been okay to go home just then, but I hesitated to go since I didn't want to be seen. I had so much fun today and I wanted to continue feeling happy as long as I could. It was already getting late, but I felt like it was getting darker or dark faster than usual. Just like Keiichi-kun said, the clouds in the sky were growing darker. It might start raining hard.
でも別に、だからって家に帰れるわけじゃないんだし。
Stop it, Rena. You had so much fun today. You have to stay happy as long as you can. I am happy. I enjoy every day. Rena, say it. Say the magical words. Sir, magical words, how? Don't be embarrassed. You're not dumb or anything. I might be able to enjoy every day even more if I were dumb. If so, dumb is what I want to be.
かいのあるかなかなお持ち帰り
There, I said it. I'm sure I can find something cute. As long as I believe it's cute, anything can be that way. I should fill my heart with happy memories of today and yesterday. I should look forward to the happiness I'm going to receive tomorrow and the day after tomorrow too. I reached the dam construction site. A mountain of trash loomed before me. I parked my bicycle and walked down the mountain of trash and scrap. This place is my castle. It would be incredible if anyone else came to this mountain of trash. I've come here so many times and I usually stay for long, but I've never seen anybody walk by. This place is the village's blind spot. I heard that many people came here all the time during the dam wars, but it was abandoned after that. The villagers no longer need to come here, and some people even forgot about it entirely. It seems like they dumped their trash here at midnight, but I've never seen a truck actually dumping trash at least. If they dump new trash more often, it'd give me more time to kill. But it looks like it's not gonna happen for a while. So I walked down the slope of the trash pile, all the way down to the bottom and headed behind another pile. Nobody ever comes here. I've come here many times and I usually stay for a long while, but nobody has ever come to mess up this place. Not even the other kids from my school come here. They all believe that the arm of the manager of the construction site is buried somewhere in the trash piles, and they also believe the whole place is haunted. They told me that a ghost with one arm still wanders around, looking for his missing limb. Sadly, I haven't seen the ghost either. She wants to see that ghost. I'm not scared. In fact, I'd rather like to meet him. I wouldn't mind helping him find his arm. If he's feeling lonely, I'd want him to be my conversation partner. There's a station wagon buried in the trash pile. It doesn't have any tires, but other than that, it still looks like a station wagon. This station wagon is my secret hideout. Unfortunately, the sliding door and the rear doors won't open. So whenever I want to get in, I have to enter from the car passenger seat and crawl into the back from there. Of course, I take off my shoes at the passenger seat, so we're seeing now why Rena is always here. When you look at it from the outside, it's just a dirty abandoned car. But on the inside, it's nice and clean because I had swept it out and decorated it a little. Oh. That took me a long time. The back seats are lying flat because I wanted to have as much space as possible. I found a mattress in the trash pile and put it onto the space instead. It was a bit dirty, so I brought a bed sheet from home and covered the mattress with it. I put my favorite cushions on top, and with that, it turned into a perfect bed. I've put cushions and stuffed animals everywhere. That's not all. Look at this. I have a bunch of sweets here too. Show it to us then. There's nothing, only black. I have a bag of fruit candy in 4 different colors and some cookies, but they're going bad, so I'll have to throw them away. My bear-shaped water bottle was empty. When I come here to spend some time on Sundays, I usually bring this water bottle with some sweetened tea in it. I have a box of tissues, a flashlight, extra batteries, and other daily necessities in here. I also have a few books to read in order to kill some time while I'm at it. And I have this. What do you think this is? My hideout is suddenly lit up thanks to the table lamp. There's an electric outlet on the side of an old nearby construction office. I thought they'd cut the power years ago, but to my surprise, I was wrong. Electricity is still being supplied to the outlet. When I found tons of extension cords, I came up with an idea to connect them all and make the electricity come all the way to my hideout. Now I can spend time here comfortably with some sweets, books, and light. If I wanted to, I might be able to spend the night here. But I may catch a cold since it's very cold at night. See? This is a very nice hideout, isn't it? At first, I thought somebody would find it and mess with it. But that hasn't happened so far. That's because nobody comes here and everybody forgot about this place. That's how this place became a perfect secret hideout. Fortunately, I ate so much today that I'm still full. I can tell them that I was playing with my friend at her house and ate dinner there. I'm going to stay here for a while and relax. I'm going to treat myself. I loved the water gun battle yesterday. My heart had been pounding when I fought one-on-one with Keiichi-kun. I also had great fun at Angel More today. I'd never experienced such a crazy game with so many people in my life. I was still feeling the after effects and I was sure I'd have a dream about it tonight. That was why I wanted to bask in these happy feelings. That was why I'm going to treat myself in here. I should take off my shoes and stretch my toes. I should cherish the time when I can be myself. Once I took off my shoes, I felt so relaxed that I didn't want to put them on again. I played all day today and I was very tired. The treasure hunt could wait. As it got darker, the light of the table lamp became encouraging. It really was getting dark faster than usual. All of a sudden, I heard the sound of raindrops hitting the roof of the car. Pitter patter, pitter patter. The interval between drops got shorter and shorter. When it became continuous, a sound, I began to hear thunder. Even though it was raining heavily, it remained very quiet inside the car, making me feel like I was in a different world. In my castle, or it's my castle after all. I felt a bit cold, so I unfolded my big blanket and hid under it. I'm here alone under the warm blanket that has my scent. Even though nobody knew where I was at the moment, I feel like I was left alone in the heavy rain. I still feel secure and free from anxiety for some reason. I felt like this heavy rain was keeping my enemies away from my castle, so I liked it that way. The place is full of happiness. It's full of my favorite things. That's why I'm happy whenever I'm here. When I put another blanket over me, I felt as warm as if I were in a bed. I listened to the soothing sounds of raindrops hitting the scrap iron in the trash heaps and it made me feel sleepy. This is a castle of trash. This trash came here because nobody wanted it. This is where it lives. This is a country where unwanted refuse lives together. I felt like I fit in here. But at the same time, I knew it was just a temporary place for me as there's somewhere I had to go back to. No, I shouldn't think about things like that. Whenever I realize that I don't belong here, I remember I'm in the middle of a very dirty pile of trash. I just doze off for a little bit longer. Thinking is poisonous. I wanted to keep myself out of that poison so that the kind of Rena within me could stay pure. A little bit longer. Just a little bit longer and I closed my eyes. Honestly, man, for me personally, like, I love the second half of the game, the mysteries, the thrills, right? The drama, but them having fun, the friends having just having some wholesome fun, talking, playing games. I love that. Yeah, I seriously do. My mother was a very busy woman. The harder she worked, the more her work was valued, and she kept getting promoted. She sought to go higher and higher. She was always shining and she was my hero. My mother started her career as a fashion designer at a small clothing factory on Okinomiya. Oh, okay, maybe that's why Rena is always dressed fashionably, or her dress, I mean, right? My father was a designer too. They met through their jobs and soon got married. They lived in a small apartment in Okinomiya, but they moved to my grandma's house, our current house in Hinamizawa, when she got pregnant with me. We lived there until right before I went to elementary school. Now that I think about it, that was the happiest time of my life. I felt happy every day and believed without a doubt that tomorrow would be the same. I was so happy that I took it for granted and I didn't even feel the happiness. I really did feel happy every day. I was small at the time and didn't really understand what was going on, but it seemed like the company my parents were working for was having financial difficulties. So my mom and a few other young designers started talking about leaving the company and going independent. After many things happened and the situation grew complicated, they got an offer to work at a big design firm in Ibaraki and they took the offer. At the time, I heard my mother saying many difficult words like limited partnership and business alliance, but in short, what she wanted to do was move to Ibaraki. My mother and her peers were hired because their talent and experience made them immediate assets at their new company. However, my father wasn't one of them. Unfortunately, my father wasn't as talented as my mom was. So moving to Ibaraki meant that my father had to give up being a fashion designer. My mom's new company had high expectations of her talent and promised her a responsible project. She didn't want to waste her growing talent and passion by living in a rural town like Hinamizawa. So my mom convinced my father to quit his job and move to Ibaraki to support her and to build her career. Back then, moving meant that I had to say goodbye to my close friends. I didn't want to move and I kept crying about it. I mean, no one wants to move anyways. If you're a kid, right, you're gonna leave your friends. Who wants to do that? After we moved to Ibaraki, my mom was a big success. Not only did she have a great leadership skills, she was full of energy. And I believe she made the use of her talents to succeed. She came home late every night and barely had any days off. When she had big projects, she often stayed entire nights at her office. But when she came home, she always looked fulfilled and wore a happy smile that she never worn when she was in Hinamizawa. She was shining, and I remember always I wanted to shine like her when I grew up. On the other hand, my father wasn't doing well. He couldn't find a job as a fashion designer, so he took a clerical job at a small company, but he kept changing positions. He couldn't use the experience that he had cultivated, and it was very hard for him. But he was very understanding. He started to take care of things around the house for my mom, who got busier and busier, having one project after the other. He cleaned the house, did the laundry, and came to my school events. However, he couldn't cook. He did cook rice, but always bought side dishes from the grocery store. We ate dinner without my mom more often and often. So maybe that's why Rena knows how to cook, right? Because her dad doesn't know how to cook and then she's the one who started doing it. I guess she's busy again. Every time I said that, he always told me, your mom is working very hard. So let's support her, Rena. Rena. That was what he always told me. I decided to help my father with the cooking. See, I thought it was a good idea to learn how to cook, since he wasn't good at it, so that's how she learned how to cook. Whenever my mom cooked, I helped her and tried to learn how to cook from her. She apologized for not having enough time to cook for us, but she was happy that I was learning. I think I wrote in my school yearbook that I wanted to be a clothing designer in the future, just like my mom. But apparently I lacked my mom's exceptional sense of style. She used to tell me taste is something that you're born with, not something that you cultivate. I remember I was discouraged to be a designer because of that. That's why I decided to reach her by getting better at things she wasn't so good at, instead of trying to be like her. I wanted to be good not only at cooking but also at doing things around the house such as cleaning, doing the laundry, and grocery shopping. I remember my father was really happy that I did all that for him because he wasn't good at it at all. He couldn't find a job and spent a lot of time at home, so he seemed to enjoy spending time doing the housework with his daughter more than anything. So I started to become better and better at filling in for my mom. And she started to get busy to do any of the housework at all, and she moved on to a more responsible position at her job. She took me out to many places as to compensate for leaving me alone all the time. She used to say, "Let's go eat something delicious," without telling your father, and took me out to a restaurant. She took me to high-class restaurants and amusement parks. Sometimes it was only me and my mom, sometimes it was with her friends from work. She took me to the beach barbecue one summer with those friends. I was introduced as her daughter, and every one of them pampered me. I still remember there was this one guy who particularly doted on me. He was a good-looking young man. I called him uncle and he got mad at me, who was nicely tanned with dyed brown hair. Don't call him uncle. This young man often came with us when we went out. When my mother took me somewhere, she usually made several phone calls for her work during the day, and sometimes she took me out to a place where she could also do her work at the same time. So I didn't feel awkward when people from her work came with us. But I always preferred to be alone with her, so I was happier when we could do that. One day she took me to a very high-end part of town. Of course, she always spoiled me whenever we went out. So she bought me things and let me eat whatever I want. But she especially spoiled me on that day. She took me to many expensive-looking boutiques and accessory stores. She was about to buy me something, but I told her not to get it because it didn't look good on me. Without hesitation, she bought it anyways. I remember there were many zeros on the price tag. On that day, I realized my mom's design work had made her very successful, and she was earning a lot of money. We took a break at a ridiculously expensive-looking restaurant that charged 1,000 yen for a glass of orange juice. Jesus! My mom clapped her hands and spoke to me with a smile on her face. She asked Rena, "Would you like to make your dream come true?" When I was in kindergarten, my teacher gave students a topic to draw. A picture of the topic was my dream, and I drew myself eating a mountain of fruit parfait all by myself. What my mother meant to say that she was going to make the dream come true for me. It was a normal day. It wasn't my birthday or anything. But since my mom always spoiled me when we went out together, it didn't feel awkward about it at all, and I accepted our offer with a smile. There were 5 or 6 fruit parfaits in front of me. I remember it looked exactly like the world I drew, and I felt like I was floating in the dream world. It was too much for us to finish, but we dug out our spoons into it as if we were playing in the mud, and we really enjoyed eating it together. It was my first time to experience getting full by eating only fruit parfaits, and I remember I was very, very happy. I enjoyed tasting the happiness and chatting with my mom.
レイナちゃん、この間映画とお食事に行った時、一緒だった人のことを覚えてる？
Why?
秋人おじさんだっけ？
Oh, hell no.
お兄さんって呼ばないとぶたれる。
Is she cheating?
レイナちゃんは秋人さんのこと好き？
嫌い。いっつもレイナのことからかうもん。
それは大好きだからちょっかいを出してるのよ。バーベキューの時はとっても仲良くしてたじゃない。
たまには仲良しかなかな。
My mother laughed. I didn't know why she brought up the subject, but I didn't really pay attention to it because I was too young. Okay, no, it's just funny that because she talks the same way even though like she was super young here. Like she talks the same as she talks right now, right? Now that I think about it, she was breaking the news. I just didn't notice it.
ねえ、レイナちゃんはお母さんとお父さんとどっちが好き？
Dude, that's a kid you're asking. Damn, I mean, she's asking if where would Rena go with if she broke up with her father and
お母さん。
that's kind of sad. It wasn't that I hated my father or anything, but I thought giving her that answer was appropriate after she spoiled me so much.
もしもお母さんとお父さんが別々のお家に住むことになったら、レイナはどっちのお家に住みたい？
Look, even the music is gone.
お母さんね、お父さんと別れて秋人おじさんと結婚しようと思うの。
Damn. At the time, my mom was a very successful woman. I didn't know this at the time, but she was drafted by a headhunter to work at a bigger company where she was promoted to a higher and more responsible position, one where she could bring out the most of her talent. Of course, that position wasn't the only thing she gained. Compared to my father's low salary, my mother was earning enough to support a family of 3 and still have some leftovers. I'd kind of realized it from the way she spent money. Yeah, if you can buy a lot of stuff like she did earlier, she's definitely making a lot of money. The greater a position she achieved, the more she spent time with people at her level. All of them were bright and talented. Compared to them, my father might have looked unattractive to her. Yeah, her outlook became different when she got all of this. I liked Uncle Akihito, but I liked him as one of my mother's friends, not in the same way I liked my father. I liked my father and mother equally, so it was very shocking to me that my mom wanted to divorce him. I felt as if the ground below me was beginning to crack. The expression, I realized, actually fit my situation really well. Or very well. I had to choose which side of the cracked ground I wanted to stand on. My mom told me to live with her at her new house. Her new house meant the house Uncle Akihito lived in. I thought a house was a sanctuary for a family. I believed that a house was a holy place where strangers couldn't easily enter. That was why I couldn't believe her. How could she let a stranger invade such a holy place so easily? Why do you hate my father? My mom looked down and didn't answer. I asked her another question. Why can't you stay with my father? I think that was the hardest and the most heartbreaking of all questions for my mom to answer. In short, my mother had cheated on him. Yes. She loved another man who was more attractive than my father. It was just that and nothing more. True, straight to the point. I knew more than anybody that it wasn't my father's fault. Yeah, her father was pretty much, fashion designer as well, but he wasn't that good. Like the mom. Tried his best, but he wasn't that good. Still moved to Ibaraki. Tried his best. But yeah, he got cheated on then. First of all, he decided to move from Hinazawa to support my mom as much as he could. For him, nothing good had come from that. Actually, I think he had a very tough time since we moved to Ibaraki. But he volunteered to be her support and tried very hard to do that. I thought my mom appreciated his support. Yeah, she appreciated it by leaving him. So, I took her decision as a betrayal. I told her that I disagreed with everything, including their divorce. I said it very loudly and made everybody in the store jump. Sure, continue your relationship with Uncle Akihito, but don't divorce my father. I feel bad for him. I feel terrible for him. He has been doing nothing but support you patiently this whole time. How could you do such a cruel thing to him? I screamed as loud as I could. Okay. Then my mom answered, "It's too late." Why? She pregnant? You haven't talked to my father about this, have you? It's not too late.
お母さんね、妊娠してるの。
Boom. Okay. I don't know whether my mom actually told him about the divorce in person. A middle-aged woman who called herself a lawyer came to the house several times to talk to my father on my mom's behalf. She sometimes called him too. She didn't even go here? What a coward. My father begged the lawyer to let him speak directly to my mom many times, but it never happened. Dude, what is wrong with you, man? At least talk to him directly if you're gonna do this. I could tell by the way they talked that he had no clue when my mom told him she wanted a divorce. Well, again, I'm not even sure if she told him in person. The lawyer told him not to meet my mom, not to call her work, and many other things too. Kinda tragic though, kinda sad. To top it all off, she told him not to see my mom ever again. He wanted to talk to her. He called some of their mutual friends, but he only found out the name of the guy she was having an affair with and nothing more. And then he asked me, "Do you know the guy?" I told him I do. I also told him that he was a funny guy and he had given me candy many times. I'll never forget how he looked when I told him that. He hit me for the first time. He hit me so hard that his handprint stayed on my cheek for a while. Then he fell on the floor and cried loudly. Ugh. It's kinda sad. And then I started to cry too. I didn't cry because he hit me. Uncle Akihito was kind to me, so I liked him and talked to him out of courtesy. No, that wasn't it. Girls had to be kind to everybody. That's what I thought. But I was wrong. I learned in this world that there are people you should be nice to and enemies you shouldn't be nice to. The enemies are the ones who would destroy my life with their very existence. Whether they mean harm or mean to harm me or not, it doesn't matter. They're like weeds growing in a flower bed. Dandelions are innocent, but they take all the nutrition for the tulips from the soil, and that's why we have to pull them out. The dandelions did nothing wrong, but they're the enemy. Enemies are bad people. That guy was a bad person. I should have accepted him. I should have just rejected him with everything I had. By doing so, I might have been able to disrupt their relationship. By doing so, I might have been able to make my mom feel like their relationship was not going to work. If I tried to do so, my parents wouldn't have had to break up. So my father and I cried together, but we cried for different reasons. He must have cried because it happened so fast and it didn't make any sense to him. I cried because I regretted that I let it happen when I had a chance to prevent it. My father stroked my cheek and opened his mouth to apologize, but he couldn't speak and just cried with me. One day, the lawyer let me see my mom. My mom asked me to live with her at her house again. Hell no, man. Hell no. No matter how much money she had. I didn't know what to say, so I just kept looking down and listened to her apologies. My father knew that I was going to see my mother on that day, so he handed me a letter and told me to give it to her. So I don't know what he wrote in that letter, But for some reason, I was able to imagine what kind of things he wrote when I felt it through the envelope. After all, the letter inside the envelope had a rough surface. He must have been crying while writing it, and his tears made the letter all wrinkled when it dried. So my mom took the letter from me and told me that she'd read it later and was about to put it in her bag. So I stopped her and told her to read it here. I wanted to see how she was going to take the last words that my father had left to her. But my mom didn't read it. She told me she wanted to read it alone later and she put it in her bag. She's not going to read it. She's just going to throw it out. At the time, I realized, no, it was more than that. I should say, I knew, because it was so obvious. I knew that my mom was lying. She had no intention of reading my father's letter. She was going to throw it away after I was gone, but she lied because she wanted to seem like a nice person in front of me. The slight curl in her eyebrows and lips told me that more clearly than anything else. At the moment, I finally knew something else. The guy she was having an affair with wasn't the only bad person. My mom was also a bad person. Since that moment, the existence of my mom disappeared from my world like dry ice evaporating. I didn't have to hesitate about to whom to live with anymore.
あなたの家には行きません。私の家は竜宮の家です。もうあなたとも会いたくありません。二度と呼ばないでください。
でもね、レイナ、お父さんの方に残ったらこれからの生活。
At that moment, I hated my name for the first time in my life.
私のこと気安くレイナって呼ばないでください。
Okay, so that's why she's using Rena now.
失礼します。さようなら。
Those were my last words to my mother. No, to the woman who used to be my mother. After that, I spent many days without feeling anything. I didn't know if the days were long or short. I didn't know which season I was living in. I was supposed to be nothing out of the ordinary, or it was supposed to be nothing out of the ordinary, not having my mother around. But every time my father saw things that reminded him of her, like her toothbrush, her teacup, or her favorite books, he shed tears, which left me frustrated. That's why I decided to completely remove her belongings from the house. I roughly threw her things into a black trash bag. I started to do so frantically. By the time I knocked down her wardrobe, threw her music box hard on the floor, and broke her mirror, my mind was already not working properly. So when I tried to remember what happened after that, I feel disoriented. That's because the pills the doctor gave me back then made me feel disoriented and lethargic every time I took them. It seems that dullness hit me especially hard. Since every time I try to remember that time, it makes me feel disoriented and lethargic, just like the pills made me feel. I destroyed everything that smelled like my mom. But the thing I wanted to destroy the most might have been myself. Even after I threw all of her belongings away, I still couldn't stop feeling regret and decided to blame myself in the end. Maybe I was thinking that I wanted to do damage to her reputation and successful life by destroying her daughter, destroying myself. When I was about to reach that very last resolution, Oyashiro-sama came to me, so this is when it started for Rena, I suppose. Oyashiro-sama told me to go back to Hinamizawa. Yes, all of this was because of his curse. Oyashiro-sama brought a curse upon the Ryugo family because we broke his rule and abandoned Hinamizawa. After I figured that out, everything started to make sense to me. All the crazy things that happened after my mom was gone. The curse of Oyashiro-sama did all of that to us. It was Oyashiro-sama's voice that was telling us to come back to Hinamizawa. That's right. We should have stayed in Hinamizawa. Everything went crazy because we moved. We had to go back to Hinamizawa. So I started feeling disoriented again and a dull pain run through my head. It might be a scream from within telling me not to push myself too hard to remember any further. The house where we used to live in Hinamizawa was still there. My grandma already has passed away and the house was the only property she left for us. I remember that I used to live in Hinamizawa, but all I remembered was that it was a village that I used to live in until right before I went to elementary school. I remembered the atmosphere of the village too, but that was all I remembered. I forgot the streets and even the names of close friends I used to play with. The neighbors knew the son of the deceased woman had come back divorced, but they didn't know us and we didn't know them. So it was almost like we moved to a new place. However, as far as I was concerned, it still was my hometown that I had to come back to. At first, everything was inconvenient compared to the life in Ibaraki and it was hard for both of us to adjust. But we renovated the old house and it was only me and my father. Life here seemed to make my father forget his pain from the divorce. Nichan was very kind to me and I started to get used to my new life too. I did everything around the house and we gradually went back to a time when we used to live happily. Anybody can live a happy life. People sometimes say that some people are born to be unhappy. But I believe that's just an excuse for people who don't even want to try. I won't give in to fate. I'll never give up trying to recapture the happy times I lost. I'm going to become happy to the point where I don't even feel the happiness anymore. I'm not going to cry anymore. I'll never cry again. I used up all my tears on that night my father hit me. The curse of Ayashiro-sama is over because we came back to Hinamizawa. So I'm going to have a happy life from now on. All of a sudden, big raindrops hit the roof of the car and I recovered my senses. It was still raining hard. It had already gotten dark outside. The shadows at the table lamp created were very dark and it looked as if there's nothing else around me. If I turned off this light, would everything in this world disappear? I turned off the light. Darkness swallowed me. But the cold air and sound of rain didn't change a bit and that made me realize I was still in this world. The curse of Ayashiro-sama. Did the curse of Ayashiro-sama do these crazy things to my family? Or did I convince myself it did as an excuse for myself because I didn't want to feel guilty about the divorce? Sometimes I'm not sure. Since that time, Ayashiro-sama hasn't come to me. I sometimes feel like I was a delusion I created because I was mentally ill, or it was a delusion. But he did come at the time. I'm sure about that. Am I right, Oyashiro-sama? I was unhappy after I left Hinamizawa, but I came back and I'm happy now. Or unhappy, okay. sorry. But where am I supposed to go now that I'm unhappy in Hinamizawa? Where?
ダメだ、レナ。不幸になったとか考えちゃいけない。私は幸せなんだ。幸せになるんだ。だから絶対に幸せになれるんだ。
Suddenly I felt that if this darkness swallowed me, I'd never be able to be happy again. I found the switch of the table lamp and turned it back on. When I looked at the clock, it was already past 11 p.m. So I had to go home and I wouldn't have time to prepare my lunch for tomorrow. At least, I'd have to set the timer on the rice cooker. It didn't look like the rain was going to stop anytime soon. So I looked out of the window to see the rain but could only see my reflection. I talked to that reflection in the window. I'm so glad that my father is happy. He'd been acting like he was dead for a long time. The smile on his face is a good sign that he's regaining his former life. He became miserable because of me. That's why I don't mind doing things for him until he regains his smile and we became truly happy. When I stay here alone for a while, it gives me some time to be alone with her. Wait, what? Plus, I don't have to fake a smile. When I stay here alone for a while, it gives him some time to be alone with her. Oh, maybe it was that Rena girl, right? That's why she knows Rena. I'm saying Rena all the time now. Rena. My reflection in the window tells me, Rena, you're such a good girl. You're kind to everybody and love them equally. You can make anybody like you. But did you forget something? In this world, there are people you should be kind to. And enemies that you have to reject with all you've got. I thought you learned that lesson. No, don't listen to her. My reflection is always mean. She always says mean things and makes fun of my worries. But she always tells me things that I can't say myself. So let's get home, Rena. To your home. Forget about the mean Rena in the mirror. I was a bit hungry by then. After all the desserts I ate, I still got hungry. Okay. I almost forgot. Rena-san bought me a shortcake. I never had a shortcake from Angel Mort, but I bet it'll taste good. So I have to give my thanks to Rena-san the next time I see her. Rena-san speaks in a way that makes it very clear how she grew up, but I'm sure she's a good person. We will see. That's because she's so good to my father. I did everything I could to make my father smile, but I failed. On the other hand, Rena can put a big smile on his face so easily. So I have to thank Rena-san. I have to thank her for cheering up my father. But I don't know why. I just don't like her perfume. Dude, I love this scene or this I guess chapter. It's a chapter, right? That we are here, we are at, I mean, or we just finished. That was really, really good. Knowing Rena's background there. I love that, yeah. Whenever we see backgrounds of the characters. That's nice. Okay, my summer vacation picture diary. Picture diary without pictures. Today I went to the swimming pool with my mom. Uncle Akihito came with us too. Okay. I don't like him because sometimes he's mean to me, but he's very kind and a funny old man. Wait. She said he was a young man, now he's an old man. He told me to call him daddy for that day because he was going to play with me at the pool like he was my daddy. My mom called him daddy, so I did too. Oh my god. What? Uncle Akihito looked very happy and gave me a lot of money. My mom looked very happy and made me happy too. I want to play with him again. I hope my dad can come with us next time. Yeah. The hell? Premonition of rainy days. I opened the window, placed my cushion nearby, and prepared to enjoy the weather. But she came over and disrupted my peaceful evening. She always ruins my time of solitude.
幸せそうね。そっか。今日はあんたの大好きな甘いものがたくさん食べられたものね。
Okay, it's that creepy Rika now. The older Rika. Hanyu? This girl loves sweets more than anything. I like them too, but I can't eat like she does. It'd give me a heartburn if I ate the amount she ate today. Why is this Satoko now? She seemed to be very happy, so I'll leave her alone for a while. I've been making my favorite hot and salty food for the past few days, so she must be quite pleased today. It was a very fun day for me too. I just wanted to enjoy the memory of the excitement I felt today by sitting here quietly enjoying the sunset. But when I looked up at the sky, I saw some thick clouds forming there. The wind was a bit cooler than usual. So, Rika is talking like this, right? So I assume this is Satoko, right? So she's talking this different voice to Satoko? Okay. It might be, or it might start raining soon.
大地震や大津波などの知らせとして浅瀬に普段は絶対に見かけることができない深海の魚が現れることがあるっていう話があるらしいわね。
We saw a very rare fish that dwells in deep waters in the shallows today. Yeah, people do say that though. If like you see like what they call that fish again, that very long fish. What is it? Was it oarfish? Oarfish, sunfish. If you see like you see a fish like that, there's some disaster that's gonna come. Something like that, yeah. Just as the ancient stories of sea monsters say, people hate deep sea animals and tend to interpret them as omens of disaster. Yes, if you see something like that, it's a bad omen because those fish live very, very deep underwater. So if they came up for some reason, right, something bad is gonna happen. It didn't matter if they showed up alive or dead. I said something interesting just now. Even if they showed up alive or dead, it was an omen of a disaster. It might start raining soon.
うるさいな。言われなくても分かってる。洗濯物を取り入れるわよ。
I grabbed the basket and went outside to take the laundry in. The clouds were getting darker. I normally like rain, but I didn't think I'd enjoy today. Yeah, it's called an oarfish, right? It's quite long. And if you see that, people just say, if you see that, it's a bad omen. Something might happen. But yeah, dude, we had fun. First episode, the second episode, very, very fun. Third episode, this one, we started up very, very wholesome with the friends, right? Them going home, waiting for Mion. And then when Rena went alone by herself now, we saw her secret hideout, right? It was, in the dump. There was a car there. She decorated. So she had her own place, I suppose, if she wanted to be alone. And then we see her background. Her background is very... Like, I love seeing backgrounds of characters. So we know much more of them, right? Just like how Keiichi... What chapter was that for Keiichi? Was it the third chapter? Like, we saw Keiichi, or... Yeah, he was telling a story that he was... How to put it? Smart? Yeah, something like that, right? I love that. And I love this as well. It was just very sad. Especially for the dad, right? Did all of that, and then in the end, he couldn't even talk to his wife, right? Like, why? Why? Nothing. Talk to my lawyer. Like, what the hell was that, man? Actual coward. You did that and you can't even face him, right? Just say it. Just say to him why you left. But she couldn't even do that. So, of course, yeah, Rena would go to her dad because of that. So, I think... I'm guessing now. Like, Rena loves her dad a lot. So, this Rena person might be the one Rena's gonna kill. Because Rena might do something, right? Maybe she might do something and Rena wouldn't like that. She wouldn't like to see her dad be sad again, right? We will have to see. But for now, that is my guess. Yes, it's gonna be Rena. That does something to her dad. And Rena wouldn't like that. And then she went over. Like, she did the deed, I suppose. She's gonna kill her. For sure. Because that's the only... what do you call this? That's the only way, or that's the only thing that Rena would do. For sure. For her dad. Right? But, yes. We're gonna continue this and do more of Higurashi When They Cry. Chapter 6. Tsumihoroboshi. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong all the time. It's very long. It's very hard to pronounce. In the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye-bye.